So, welcome to Jumbo Eyes and welcome to our lecture series called Daily MCQ Practice. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs through a set of 4 to 5 MCQs. The purpose of this lecture series is very simple. It's actually twofold. Number one, we want you to revise your current affairs because revision of current affairs is very important if you're serious about consolidating your current affairs for your exam. Okay? And what better way to revise your current affairs than by getting the much needed MCQ practice? MCQ practice is very important if you're serious about stage one of your civil services examination, that is prelims. Because prelims is all about MCQs. And current affairs form a very significant chunk of your prelims examination. Around 40 questions are related to current affairs directly or indirectly. So 40% of your exam is based on current affairs. Clearly, it's even more than 40 questions, but I'm giving you a conservative estimate. Okay, at least 40% questions are based from current affairs. So if you're serious about those 40 questions or more, but if you're serious about getting at least 40 questions right in your prelims examination, at least, I'm talking at least, then you should get this MCQ practice from current affairs. Okay, follow this lecture series regularly because it might seem very little effort right now that you're just covering 4 or 5 MCQs. But these 4 or 5 MCQs on a daily basis, daily, would add up, and become 1200 MCQs by the time you're ready for your next year's prelims examination. And these 1200 MCQs would be from current affairs alone. They won't be from static subjects or static topics like polity, geography, history. No, for that we have separate lecture series. This would be clearly from current affairs alone. So as far as current affairs portion is concerned, you don't have to be worried about that for your prelims examination because you would have covered everything from your current affairs and practiced around 1200 MCQs from your current affairs when you are ready for your prelims examination. You don't have to worry about current affairs at all, provided you have followed this lecture series religiously and regularly. Okay, so make this lecture series a part of your daily routine. All right, now let's start with this lecture. Let's straight away jump into the discussion of MCQs from 7th October 2024, starting with question number 1. Consider the following statements regarding Gir forests. It is spread across 3 districts of Kutch region of Gujarat. It is the only remaining habitat for Asiatic lions in the Indian subcontinent. Pania and Mitiala wildlife sanctuaries are also part of Gir protected region. How many of the above statements are correct? Okay, so look, the entire Gujarat region, okay, you can see it is divided because of Gulf of Kutch, right? Gulf of Kutch and Gulf of Kambut is different. Gulf of Kutch, because of Gulf of Kutch, the Gujarat region is divided into 2 parts, right? One is the Kutch region, and the other is Saurashtra, right? So Gir forests are found in Saurashtra region, not Kutch region. Okay, and Gir forests are spread across 3 districts. One of the main districts is Junagadh, right? That is an important district that you need to remember because most of Gir forests are spread across Junagadh. Okay, the other is Somgir, Somnath, and others. But it is spread across 3 districts of Saurashtra region of Gujarat. So this part is false. Now, why is Gir forest famous? Well, there was a time when lions also roamed around in India or the Indian subcontinent, right? Currently, most of the lions are found in Africa, and those lions are called African lions. Okay, but there was a time when we had Asiatic lions also, and they roamed around in the Indian subcontinent. But after many years of hunting and habitat destructions, Asiatic lions are now only confined to Gir forest region of Gujarat. They are nowhere found in India, anywhere in India. It is the last remaining habitat of Asiatic lions in the Indian subcontinent. So this part is correct, and that is why Gir forests are important. Because if Gir forests are destroyed, then Asiatic lions would be destroyed forever. Okay. Now this entire Gir protected region consists of various protected areas. It contains Gir National Park. It contains Gir Wildlife Sanctuary. It contains Pania Wildlife Sanctuary, Mitiala Wildlife Sanctuary. So this entire region of Gir National Park and these 3 wildlife sanctuaries, this entire region is known as Gir Protected Area. Okay, so this part is also correct. Only 2. Remember, Gir Protected Area is made up of these four things: Gir National Park, Gir Wildlife Sanctuary, Panya Wildlife Sanctuary, Mitiala Wildlife Sanctuary. Okay? All right. Question number 2. Which of the following statements are correct regarding eco-sensitive zones? These regions act as shock absorbers for wildlife in protected areas. Okay. Commercial establishments of hotels, resorts are not allowed in ESZs. State forest departments have the power of declaring any area as ESZ. Okay. Now, what are ESZs? Basically, let's suppose we have Gir National Park. Let's suppose this is Gir National Park. And outside this Gir National Park are human settlements and human areas, cities and villages, right? Now, the thing is that Gir National Park is a protected area. Government has taken severe steps so that wildlife in this area is protected. That's why minimum human activity is allowed in this national park. Okay, because human activity tends to destroy wildlife. All right, but outside this national park, there is human activity. There is large-scale human activity. Now, at times, because animals are not aware of this boundary, humans are, but animals are not. Okay, so at times, sometimes animals cross this boundary and come into human areas or human settlements. Okay, and many a times, many wild animals cross this territory and come in contact with humans. This leads to man-animal conflict. Okay, and if carnivores come to human areas, they actually harm human populations, and it creates public anger among humans. They start culling of these animals, and this leads to hunting of these animals, and hence their population becomes more endangered. So we have to prevent man-animal conflict. That is why sometimes around national parks or any other protected area, government creates a buffer zone. Okay, and outside this buffer zone, full-scale human activity is allowed, but this is a buffer zone just outside the protected area. Now, that buffer area is known as ESZ, eco-sensitive zone, because they act as shock absorbers for wildlife in protected areas. Because now, if these animals cross this border, okay, if these wild animals cross this border, there will be human activity in eco-sensitive zones, but it won't be large-scale human activity. So there won't be significant populations of humans in eco-sensitive zones, which would reduce man-animal conflict and would preserve wildlife in this area. Okay, so these act as shock absorbers or buffer areas. So this part is correct. Now, the thing is, eco-sensitive zones do have human activity, but that human activity is highly regulated and restricted. Okay, so in eco-sensitive zones, mining, quarrying, polluting industries are not allowed. Because if polluting industries are allowed in these areas, then how would you protect wildlife or plants in this area, in the protected area? So polluting industries, mining industries, quarrying industries are not allowed. They are completely banned in ESZs. But commercial industries like hotels, resorts, they are allowed in eco-sensitive zones, but they are also highly regulated. So commercial establishments of hotels and resorts are not allowed. No, they are allowed, but regulated. So this is false. Now, who has the power of declaring a particular area as ESZ? Generally, what happens is that state forest departments send a proposal to declare a particular area as ESZ. That proposal is sent for scrutiny to Ministry of Environment. And only Ministry of Environment, Union Ministry of Environment, that means center, has the power of declaring any particular area as ESZ. State forest departments cannot unilaterally do that. They can only send a proposal, but the power of declaring an area as ESZ is only with Union Ministry of Environment. So this is also false, only one. All right. Question number 3. Consider the following statements regarding denotified tribes. They were initially identified as criminal tribes as per the provisions of Criminal Tribes Act of 1871. Criminal Tribes Act was repealed in 1952, and since then these tribes were called denotified tribes. Look, when the Brits came here, when the East India Company came here, when the colonial government was here, these Europeans found that there are certain tribes in India whose main occupation is raiding, stealing, looting, right? They found that there were some tribes in India whose main occupation was this. These families belonging to these tribes were involved in non-bailable offenses or criminal offenses. Therefore, the entire tribe was declared as criminal tribe. Now that was bad, But Britishers dealt with this problem like this. So the entire tribe was declared criminal, and severe restrictions were imposed on them. They were restricted to particular settlements. They were restricted in one area. They had to report to the police quite frequently. They were regularly harassed. And the rules for regulating criminal tribes were established under Criminal Tribes Act of 1871. So yes, these tribes were identified as criminal tribes. Okay, they were done by the British. Absolutely correct. But when India got independence, independent India realized that this is such a discriminatory practice. Therefore, in 1952, India repealed this act. And it also said that the term criminal attached to these tribes would also add to the stigma attached to these tribes. Therefore, this nomenclature is also not acceptable. Therefore, the word criminal should be eliminated and these tribes should be called denotified tribes. So this statement is also correct. Both are correct. And last, which of the following statements is are correct regarding elephant census? It is conducted every 5 years by Wildlife Institute of India. Elephants are Schedule 1 animals as per the Wildlife Protection Act, and they are classified as vulnerable as per IUCN Red List. So, okay. Now look, elephant census, which counts the number of elephants in India, is conducted by Wildlife Institute of India, which is an autonomous body under Environment Ministry. Okay, and it is conducted every 5 years. This part is correct. Now, Asiatic elephants. Look, there are two types of elephants. African elephants found in Africa, Asiatic elephants found in India and Southeast Asia. Okay. Now, Asiatic elephants are classified as endangered as per IUCN. Not vulnerable, endangered. Okay. And in India, this is as per IUCN. But what about India? So, India enacted Wildlife Protection Act. And those animals which are mentioned in Schedule 1 are given the highest protection available. Okay, so the most vulnerable animals, the most endangered animals are mentioned in Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act. Now, elephants are Schedule 1 animals. This part is correct, but they are endangered as per IUCN Red List. So this part is false. This is correct, only one. And with that, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I hope it has added value to your preparation. Though it would add more value if you revise this lecture also. And you can revise this lecture by downloading our PDF file, because this PDF file actually contains detailed solutions of all the questions discussed in this lecture. So you'll find written solutions to the questions discussed in this lecture in this PDF file. Now you can download this PDF file from our Telegram channel. The link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section below this video. So click on that link, it will take you to our Telegram channel, follow this channel and download the PDF for not just this lecture, but all the other lectures featuring on our YouTube channel. On that note, I'll be signing off. Thank you so much, everyone.